Jonas had $187 in his bank account before he received his first paycheck. Well, anytime you have a story problem like this, you got to take a look at the numbers in it. $187, that's important. After depositing his entire first paycheck, Jonas had $429 in his bank account. Write an equation. That's an important word, equation, that can be used to determine the amount of money, M, that Jonas earned on his first paycheck. So what we're doing here, we're going to need to use all of these in our equation. Remember, the difference between an equation and an expression is an equation has an equals sign. So when you write your equation, it must have an equals sign. Now this equation is going to need to include the 187, the 429, and also the M. They want us to use the variable M. Now, I don't know if they would take off points if you used a variable X or a variable B or something like that, but they want us to use the variable M, so we're going to use that. So I'm going to just go chronologically. I'm going to start with this 187 that he has, and I'm going to start with 187. 187, he had $187 before his first paycheck, after depositing. Well, what mathematical symbol is depositing? A deposit is plus. You're adding something to the account. So 187 plus. He deposited his entire first paycheck. And it also says the amount of money, down here it says an equation that we can use to determine the amount of money that he earned on his first paycheck. So how much is that first paycheck? That first paycheck is M. So $187 plus M equals, it's going to be that 429. So this is our equation, because it says after depositing his entire first paycheck, he had $429 in his bank account. So the equation is 187 plus M equals 429. Now you could put it a little bit different way. There's other ways to put this that are not wrong. Like for instance, you could put M equals 429 minus 187. Those are the exact same thing. There's also some other ways that you could put it, like 429 minus M equals 187, something like that. But I think this way that I've put it, I think this makes the most sense. The other ways would be correct. So let's look at the rest of the problem. Jonas receives the same amount of money on each paycheck. For the next 5 paychecks, Jonas will spend an average of $65 of each paycheck and put the rest of his earnings in his bank account. How much money will Jonas have in his bank account after receiving 5 more paychecks? So let's take a look at what we need to do here. Well, we know that we need to find out first the amount of money that he gets per paycheck. Now, we had our equation back here, which is 187 plus M equals 429. Now, I will give you a secret. Every time that they have you write an equation, every time, I have not seen this not be true, but I think every time that they give you an equation, they are going to ask you to solve it. So the first thing we need to do is solve this equation. Well, this is a simple one-step equation. 187 plus M equals 429. We have 187 plus M, so we need to subtract 187 from both sides. Since we did it on the left, we do it on the right, minus 187. And this is going to get us M on this side equals 242. Now, 242 is not our answer. 242 is the amount of money that he gets for each paycheck, $242. Now, out of that 242, we know that he spends $65 from each paycheck, an average of 65 over 5 paychecks. So we're going to subtract that, and we're going to get 177. So he's depositing $177 on each paycheck. So this is for 5 paychecks, so it's times 5. And we're going to come up with 885. Now, that is still not the answer. Some people would stop there and put 885 for the answer, but it's still not the answer because it says, how much money will he have after receiving 5 more paychecks? So you have to add the $429 that he has in the first part. So we're going to add 429, which comes up with 1,314. So this is an example. You see there's a good amount of work right here. There's several calculations, but there's not a whole ton of writing. This is an example of something that will get you 4 out of 4 if you put this, and for the equation you put 187 plus m equals 429. If you wanted to, it's a really good idea. Remember, we got these blue-haired old ladies that are doing all the adding up, and they're trying to see what grade you're going to get. They're looking at these things all day. So if you want to make sure that you get the credit, you can do stuff like say, well, this 65, you can write down this is the amount of money that he spent each paycheck. You can write a word like put per paycheck. Per pay, something like that. And then for the times 5, you put 5 pays. And then for the 429, you put original. Something like that. Just put a few more clues as to what you're doing exactly in order to get, because that's going to help the blue-haired old ladies. But whatever you do, don't put too little information. Make sure you put something all the time.